Poison. Force rise. Sing Scorpion. Break those.
Hello YouTube, this is Charlie426, and today we have the review of the Premium Bandai exclusive, or P-Bandai exclusive, SHF Kamen Rider Horobi from Kamen Rider Zero-One. So when I was still on the early stages of Kamen Rider Zero-One, I haven't really found a rider that I really liked at the early, stages. But when I first saw Kamen Rider Horobi, I basically told myself, yeah, that's going to be my favorite rider. And yeah, up to this point, I'm really surprised how well the character is doing, despite, like, he has no power-ups, no upgrades. He's fighting more powerful enemies very well. Of course, right now, he's in kind of a odd situation. So I have pre-ordered this figure some time ago, and it has arrived this week. And I have seen some people get it a little bit earlier, like I think last month, to be more specific, so yeah, I'm not the earliest person to get this, but still I'm really happy that mine arrived safely without any defects. Because sometimes while the figure, is being shipped, sometimes it can get damaged on the process, but luckily that didn't happen. Okay, so let's see what we got. So first of all, let's go over components. Here's the box as usual. So being a Premium Bandai version, there is no window case, so there's no window box on the front part, so we have a nice picture of the rider. And then on the back we have some, pose demonstrations, which I might do some of them, but still pretty neat. Alright, so other than that, let's go over components. So first of what you get, of course, is obviously the Kamen Rider Horobi himself, and then hand-wise we get the fist hands for left and right, and then we get the force riser. Now the belt has been made very well, and I have no problems with the belt itself, because my last SHF from Kamen Rider Zero-One was, I believe, Kamen Rider Vulcan, and the only part that I didn't like about that figure, while everything was very fun to play with, it was the shot riser itself constantly falling off the belt. Not that it just fell off on its own, but every time I tried to do something, sometimes I would knock it off. But yeah, other than that, and then still we only get the opened up progrise key for the belt, and there is no closed up version, despite having two progrise key holders on each side. One on each side, and hopefully, but of course, I have pre-ordered the SHF Kamen Rider Vulcan Assault Wolf form, and then Zero-One Shining Assault form. So, and I believe on the pictures, at least for Assault Wolf, I can't remember for the Zero-One, but he definitely had a closed up progress key on one of these holders. So hopefully, we can finally get one in the future. Other than this is what you're supposed to get. So you get 4 hands in total. So I have one already attached onto the figure. So number 1, we get a we have these open hands for mostly for posing. Number 2, we have these hands, which are for also, well, these hands are mostly going to be the hands that you are going to be using to hold the attached arrow, like right over there. And then here we have these hands once again also for holding the attached arrow, but for more a specific pose or specific stance, I believe. And then here we have the attached arrow. Very nice looking. I think I really like the detail going on here. And we do have a slot here for the close progrise key, as far as I know. And then we have this part, which is the part where you pull. And yeah, which is why if you pull it out, you only get this tiny piece. Which is why we have the longer piece, so you can give it the illusion or do the pose where he's actually trying to do the charge shot. And once again, some people actually wanted to have the closed-up versions of these weapons. I personally don't care for those ones, because it's been, because I don't, ever since at some point in the series, we don't really see the closed-up versions. So of course, recently with Kamen Rider Arc Zero, after Arc Zero popping out, he does somehow 3D print his own weapons, and then it shows it in the case form. But still, I don't think I'm a big fan of the closed-up versions yet. Alright, so that's all for now. Let's see what we got for articulation. Now there is one point that I would like to warn you guys regarding fragileness, or just to be careful about, but I'll go into that when we go on to the arms. So let's check the head. The head has been done very beautiful. Some people thought the head was a little bit too big, but now looking at it, I think it's the right size. So sometimes pictures can be, can be like that. So the way how the eyes are, basically, you have a clear, as far as I can tell, there's a clear piece on top of the figure. So there's a clear piece on top of the eyes, and then on the back, on the inside, are those yellow parts inside. And they did a very good job putting that aspect in. And then on the back we have all these strap designs going on here. Very well done. So head articulation wise, it's kind of limited than I thought. So number one, we can go down as usual, up not so much as you think, and then you really, I mean, technically if you force it, you can maybe go 360, but keep him, of course, Horobi being a more of a human being, I guess he could spin his head 360, but still, it does kind of limit the 360 twist on the head. Also, the main reason would be these shoulder flaps or these armor parts that are blocking the way, and they are not only that they are just there, but they have these flaps going on here, so you can move them up and down a little bit, which does help moving the arm as well. So nice details going on here. And I would like to mention like the two different types of surface details on the armor. I really like this aspect. We have a nice smooth one, and then we have this part which looks like more of a factory industrial like floor design. Really liking that aspect, and you can see like we have small details here and there. One thing is that up to this point, I think most of the riders from the series had covered up their belly sections, but this figure does not do that. So he does, depending on how you look at it or which angle you look at it, he may look like he has a fat belly, which is not really the case, but just gives the illusion of that. Thanks at least for that, we have a nice decent ab crunch going on here. We can go forward and backward. 360, I'm not going to even try. We do have some side-to-side movement going on here. And the arms, while each arm has, like, the end side has a different design, well, they still have the same articulation. So if you look at this section here, we have this part that moves for some reason, but you can still move the arm 90 degrees to the side, or slightly a little bit more. This also applies to the other section, other arm. Of course, because of how the armor works, yeah, maybe exactly 90 degrees would be safe to say. And then we still have a 360 twist on the arm, and then we can, oops, sorry about that. So we can still rotate the arm entirely 360, and depending on where you put this section here, you can rotate the arm. Technically, this one you can go 360, but only if you force your way through. So yeah. Same for the other arm. There's nothing too special on the right arm, but the left arm has this stinger, which I believe is still considered like an armor piece slash weapon, but in the series he doesn't really use it as a weapon. Of course, when he uses his finisher move, he sometimes uses this as well, but only to extend the scorpion tail. So what I would like to mention is to be careful of this part. So you can attach the arrow on the right arm, which is no problem, but when you're trying to attach the arrow, you attach the arrow to the specific hand, and then when you're trying to put the hand inside, just be careful not to push the end tip too much, because sometimes even the S.H.F. do sometimes break. Like these kind of pieces can break or can snap off, so just be careful when doing that. And on this arm, we also have this wire cable going on here, which is actually a nice add-on detail. So the cable itself definitely has the feeling of one of those plastic wire cables, but still I wouldn't like, you know, force it. But still, it does extend inside to the armor part. I'm not sure how far it goes in, but yeah, it's a nice detail to know about that. Hands are your typical SHF style hands, where the ball joint is on the arm, not on the hand, unlike Gunpla. So basically the opposite way how Gunpla does it. And looking at the belt, I do like the way how they molded the belt. Of course, I would have hoped that, you know, we would still have the gimmick, maybe not to the point where this actually moves like the toy, but maybe at least to have the handle move forward and backward like that in the series. But still, oh well. And then the way how the progrise key attaches, it's, yeah, you just somehow, I'm not sure if there's a locking gimmick even at this point, but still it just lies inside the belt and you're good to go. Luckily it doesn't fall off that easily, so yeah, of course not too easy, but still it still works. And once again, not much details for the opened up progrise key, so I'm not sure, maybe there's going to be another third party or someone out there making stickers or, you know, applying some paper on it. And here we have the progrise key holders, which are still empty. And then the legs, we definitely have a nice beautiful purple color overall armor part with body. And then the legs, we still have your typical side swivel going on here, and then we do have like this gimmick on the legs where the hinges are connected to each other, so depending on how you move the legs, they can move the other one as well. And then you can still go about almost 90 degrees to the front, and then not so much to the back, but you can go to the side. Oh, sorry about that. You can go, when you just do it on a normal stance, it can only go that much, but you know, if you extend enough, you can go a little bit more with the other leg. So kicking poses shouldn't be a big problem. And then bend wise, we have you can go 490 degrees, and then you have a nice double jointed bend going on here. And then for the feet, you have your typical SHF style feet where you have a nice pivot going on here, and then you can rotate the feet 360 for some reason, and then we have a nice toe bend. And nice surface details on the feet as well. Alright, so we've seen the basic articulation, so I'll be right back with using the weapons. Okay, I'm back. So currently I gave the the right hand the attached arrow, and then on the other hand I gave it the specific hand to hold the end tip of the, charging shot part. So yeah, so if you, depending on which angle you look at it, it looks pretty okay, but in reality, because of how the arrow works and then how the angle and the articulation works, depending on how you look at it, the way how the right hand is holding the arrow may look a little bit awkward, but still that I never really done archery myself, so it could be just me not being used to this pose as well. Despite seeing Horobi using this weapon multiple times. But either way, I really like the way how this weapon looks and the way how everything matches up, because the scale seems okay, the size seems okay, and then the length seems okay. Although I would not have minded if this was slightly a little bit longer, or maybe instead of having a separate part and a separate hand, I would have preferred if this hand and then this part would have been a single piece, which would be much more easier to use in my own opinion. But still, it's a very good figure. And you don't really need to use this specific hand. You can just always use a different open hand to give it the illusion of holding it, because this hand may look like it's actually holding the end tip, but it's just the illusion. It's not really holding it. It's just, it's just the design that making the fingers look like it's holding it. And I'm just gonna end it right here. So once again, the only part I would like to warn you guys is when you attach any hand parts to this on the left hand, just be careful not to accidentally push the scorpion tip here, this part, because I feel like if you're not careful, if your hand suddenly slips, this is one of those parts that you might accidentally hit and then break. Other than that, this is a very, very good figure. Of course, this figure does also at the same time feel a little bit lighter than other SHFs, but it could be just me, but hopefully it's not a big deal to a lot of you guys. Anyway, thanks for watching the review. This was the review of the P-Bandai exclusive SHF Kamen Rider Horobi. If you guys got any questions or requests, even comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time!